Hey there legends, and welcome to the commencement of the Ando Vocals podcast. This video right here is a scintillating debut you've got to watch all the way through to the end. Being such a Fear Factory nuffy, this was a huge deal for me and a bucket list item being checked off, getting to interview the one and only DINO CAZARES. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and turn on alerts for my channel, because this is just part one of my interview with DINO, and I would hate for you to miss out on part two. In future, I'll also be bringing you more interviews with royalty from the Australian and international heavy music scenes, and maybe even the odd supporting personality. So without further ado, here's DINO talking about Fear Factory's first remix album since 1997. It dropped on October 28th, and it's an absolute belter of a record. It's called RECODED, so check it out. Watch to the end, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave us a comment.
All right, let's get to this interview then.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, just quickly about myself, DINO. I'm a recently turned 40-year-old, but I've been a Fear Factory fan for 27 years of my life.
So how old were you when you first got into it? 13?
13, so yeah, Mortal Kombat soundtrack. That fight scene between Johnny Cage and Scorpion was just like,
and did you know it was Fear Factory when you heard it?
No, I didn't. So obviously bought the album and then paired it up, matched it up with that particular track. And Zero Signal's probably been my favorite Fear Factory track ever since.
Nice.
But today it's an honor to interview you, man. And yeah, I've got a whole heap of questions about RECODE. But before we jump into that, just tell us how fulfilling it's been getting back on the road and touring with the guys in Soulfly.
Well, hold on. Before I answer that question, I'll give you a little bit of trivia. So, Mortal Kombat, the company, the movie company, reached out to us and said, "Hey, we want to put you guys on the soundtrack. Can you guys write a song for Mortal Kombat?" We're like,
and
sure.
That was Self-Biased Resistor, right?
Self-Biased Resistor was supposed to be the original track, but we completed the album and we did the whole record. And then, because the movie took a long time to film, obviously. So we finished that, and then whoever it was fucking heard the album and said, "Wow, I want Zero Signal for that track, for that soundtrack." Like, sure. They took Zero Signal, they liked it better, and they cut it in the movie. Because not all the songs that are on the soundtrack made it on the movie at all. You know, so we were lucky that ours made it in the movie. Particular scene where it's like, where the scene where the part where everybody's kind of quiet, you just hear the intro to Zero Signal creeping in.
Yeah.
And then boom, and it's down, and it gets into it, and it's on fire. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it
killing
great.
Oh, I mean, yes, obviously the CGI is nowhere near as good as what we're spoiled with these days. But you go back and you watch it; it's still a pretty entertaining movie.
Yeah.
I think really
everybody was asking us.
But
yeah, when the next Mortal Kombat movie came out, everybody was asking us if we were going to be on the soundtrack. I'm like, we don't have any control over that, you know.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a soundtrack like that, anyways. But anyways, what was the question? I forgot.
Yeah, so obviously this has been a crazy world we've been living in for the past 2.5 years. Just wanted to know how fulfilling, how, I guess, cathartic it's been for you getting back out on the road with the guys in the Soulfly tribe.
Oh, it's been one fucking fun ride. It's been great playing with them. You know, I've known Max for many years. I've known the family for many years. And playing with them has been a great, you know, I enjoy playing with Mike Leon, who's the bassist. He's really good. Zion Cavalera, he's a fucking hard-hitting drummer. And of course, Max is like my brother. That, you know, we grew up in this industry together. You know, he got signed before we did. He helped us get signed to Roadrunner Records. There's been a lot of history between us, and it's been great. And you know, any opportunity to work with him, I'm not going to pass it up.
Yeah, definitely back in the day when the brothers were in there doing their thing, far out.
Yes.
Anything from Chaos AD to Yeah, far out. Just all of their, even Roots, like fantastic albums, just really awesome stuff.
Yeah, I did a whole South America tour with them doing him and Igor, Max and Igor. Amazing to hang out with both those guys. They're my brothers. They're legends. It's amazing. But I'm going to be out there, in case people don't know, I'm going to be out there playing with Soulfly, coming up on the Good Things festivals and a couple of sideshows.
Ah, fantastic. So what dates are you playing in Australia then?
It's coming up. It's like the 3 Good Things Festival, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and then we have a couple of sideshows in Sydney and Melbourne. Then I'll be heading over to Perth on the 7th. I'll be at the Ormsby factory, and I'll be doing a meet and greet, guitar clinic, and I believe you might be able to build a guitar. I'm not sure. I know they're going to have something like that. So.
Oh man, yeah, that was definitely my list of questions.
So yeah, between the 7th and 12th, if you're in Perth, come out and hang out. Contact Perry Ormsby at ormsbyguitars.com, and you'll get all the information.
Yeah, I've already been in touch via Facebook Messenger, just having a bit of a yarn about it. Really looking forward to meet you in person.
So you knew I was coming.
Yeah, Perry did mention something in a discussion forum on Facebook a while back to say, look, we're thinking of doing this. He was just gauging interest, and yeah, so many people were like, yeah, I'll be there. So yeah,
I won't be bringing all these guitars. I won't be bringing those.
No man, it's too much in the luggage.
Well, yes. Well, not just that. I mean, I won't be bringing the options that we do manufacture.
Right. Okay.
Because those are not my touring guitars yet. I mean, I don't really like playing these guitars for other bands.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because they represent the Fear Factory guitars, and they represent Fear Factory for the Fear Factory song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So hopefully I'll have a collection of Obsolete, Demanufacture, Digimortal, Soul Machine. I'll have the collection, so whenever we play those songs, boom, I'm busting out.
The Digimortal guitar's gonna look amazing, man.
Yes, so when I do that, I think that people will be like, motherfuckers bringing out every guitar for every song, a different guitar.
That's so epic, man. So, congratulations on the release of Recoded.
Thank you.
I've been thrashing it since it came out on October 28th. I think it's absolutely incredible. And yeah, for a diehard fan like myself, and I'm not just speaking for myself, but it's fantastic that us fans are getting astoundingly awesome content from Fear Factory 2 years in a row. After that, what was it, almost a 6-year layoff? We won't talk too much about the whole trademark and that sort of thing, but just how awesome does it feel, Dino, to actually get some momentum back into the Fear Factory project and release these 2 albums in consecutive years?
It feels great. I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to do this and to make this happen. You know, of course, yes. As you know, we've had a turbulent few years, with the lawsuits and with COVID, you know what I mean? So it really prevented the band from playing live. I think the last show was probably 2016 was the last time we played live, and then, and then, we got the record out in 2021, so it's a long time in between, and then getting into Recoded. It feels really good to be able to move forward and to hopefully not have any more problems. But it is the band, it is life, that's how things are.
Yeah.
And also the loss of the singer, that's a big thing too. And taking my time to find the right guy, which I have, and we are currently right now working on pre-production for new songs. So
fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good news.
So pre-production, not the production, but pre-production. Basically, we're in the demo stages of doing this record. A lot of people don't really understand the difference of what that means. Right now, we're just demoing the song before we go into record the song. Because everybody's like, "Oh man, you're recording new songs already? You're ready to gonna get the record out soon?" I'm like, "No, it's gonna take some time." We're just barely getting into it right now.
For sure. So it's been 25 years since the release of Remanufacture.
Yep.
That was released back in 1997. I was in 10th grade, believe it or not.
Wow.
So the world has changed a fair bit. Like, it's almost unrecognizable how much the world has changed in those 25 years. Just how different was the remix process for Recoded in comparison to Remanufacture?
Not much different.
Oh, cool.
The only difference is that, you know, because of COVID and because all these guys live in different parts of the world, is that, you know, I wasn't able to be there with them. You know,
right.
basically how we're talking now is exactly how I was able to communicate with these guys and, you know, collaborate together on these remixes.
Because that was going to be one of my next questions, like how much of it was done in person versus how much was done remotely. But if you're saying that it was all done remotely like this, then that was, massive difference.
Well, Remanufacture, like I believe 5 or 6 of the songs, you know, Rhys Fulber and myself and the band members we were there with him. Mainly me was there with him while we were creating some of this stuff. But, you know, on this one, I was not with anybody at all. You know what I mean? It was just all done via internet, you know, Zoom.
Yeah.
And I had more of a say on this one than Remanufacture, because when we sent out these songs to certain DJs, they gave us what they gave us. There was no going back and changing things. You know what I mean? So, and that was it. So, but this one, you know, I had a little bit more creative control than I did in the past, and I was able to, you know, sit there and discuss these ideas and, you know, possibly make, you know, some changes. You know, but again, I was with, on this one, I was able to, you know, communicate with Rhys quite a lot via the internet. Same thing with Zardonic, collaborated with him a lot, and Rob G as well. Rob G, I met him he was here in LA. He was on a layover because he was going to go to the Electric Daisy Festival, I think it's called. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a big festival. It's a big, you know, techno festival in Las Vegas. So he was on a layover here in LA, and he was at a hotel for a few hours. So I was able to go to his hotel and listen to what he was working on, and then I gave him some ideas and my opinion, and boom, he nailed it. And
it's
great.
I feel that Hypocrisy of Faith track that he worked on, I feel like that's probably the most unique track on the entire album.
Wow, that's great. For me, I feel like it's more of a throwback to
100%. Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. Like, it would easily slot into any of those 1997 releases, whether it was Remanufacture or the Burn EP or the Gabba remixes. It just pumps.
Yeah,
and it sort of has that retro feel to it.
You know, I wanted to, over the years, I have approached Thomas Holkenberg, or people know him as Junkie XL.
Yes, yeah, and he was prolific on Remanufacture, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is just beyond our reach nowadays. You know, he's been doing major soundtracks for, you know, Batman and other things. So he's extremely busy. Yeah, so he's been beyond our reach.
That's the way it goes. So yeah, coming back to that, the control of the direction. So
I wanted different elements.
Out of the creative license of the collaborators, or did you have a lot of input?
I had a lot of input, for sure.
Yeah, fantastic.
But you know, I would say probably more so with DJ Zardonic than anybody else. Just because I really feel like he's an amazing guy. He's got amazing stuff, amazing ideas. But I really wanted to collaborate on him because I really wanted to possibly use him for the new record as well.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to be more part of the process with him than anybody else.
Right.
Because I just want to see where he was at, and to see how he is creatively. And because like I said, I want to possibly use him for the new record as well, to come up with some ideas and work on some new stuff.
Because there's a pretty strong history of you working with those those DJ types. Blush Response, for example, he was involved in the Industrialist, and Dualized, he was involved in
Genexus
and
the new one.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely like reaching out to other creative people, to add their elements into our music. I love that. You know what I mean? I love seeking out other artists. Like another guy too, who I really want to use on this new record is Tyrant of Death.
Yes.
This guy's name is Alex, and if you heard Empire's Fall, that shit's heavy as fuck.
Oh man, it's huge. Yeah, it really hits hard.
And so he's another artist that I want to work with, also possibly in the future. Yeah.
Awesome. So, did you have to lay down any fresh parts to assist the collaborators, or was they purely just recoding it, remixing it, all of their own accord?
The only thing that we changed up was, that I added was guitars on the song Recoded.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, awesome. I quite enjoy the sentence mixing. I think that's the terminology for it.
The sentence mixing? What does that mean?
Yeah, like the vocal remixing. So when one of the DJs comes along and they sort of chop up Burton's sentences.
Oh yeah.
Like, did you have any input on sort of emphasizing particular lyrics of Burton's? Because I feel like his message is emphasized in some of the songs, like the
more so than that was my idea.
It's my life.
That was definitely my idea.
Sick.
Because I mean, even when I'm working on the regular record, that was always like my thing, that I always like to emphasize certain words. Like when we did the song Disruptor, it didn't have Disruptor in the beginning of the song. I thought it was a really great idea just to start out with a banger that way. Disruptor. It just hits hard, you know what I mean? Yeah. And those are like my ideas, like, can't take me apart. It's like, just those type of little things like that. Well, I like something I really like to emphasize on. But in particular to Aggression Continuum, the track where it says fucking madness, that was my idea. But everything else, that was the guys who did the work, the DJ work, that they emphasized a lot on the vocals. Like for instance, I Am the Night Rider, I don't remember the guy's name, but the guy died from I Am the Night Rider.
Yeah, just recently, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so I kind of wanted to play a homage to him, not because he died, but because just because he was a character that was in the first movie. He's like in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. I wanted to really, the song was based off of him. So on I Am the Night Rider, I really wanted it to be more about him. So I wanted to add more of the dialogue from the movie. At the end of the song, I Am the Night Rider, maybe you heard, maybe you didn't hear it, but at the end he goes, "The toe cutter, he knows who I am."
Yeah. You can really hear that Australian accent coming through.
Yeah. And it's just being a fan of those movies, and I wanted to add more dialogue to that. And so that I wanted to put more into. And then what I liked was Zardonic did, he actually took the middle part of the song, the middle part of the melodic song, and made it the chorus.
Yes. Yep.
And then the real chorus doesn't come till way later.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Like, did you sort of recommend any riffs or melodies be focused on in the remixes, or was it really up to the creative license of the collaborators?
Yeah, a little here and there. Only when me and Zardonic was working on Worthless, I told him no guitars. I want no guitars on this song. I want it to be all synth. I want it to be like a synthwave track. And he's like, you know that this is not my genre. I go, I know, but I know that you're talented enough to where you can make it happen. And he did. And I said, I want it to be less vocals too. So I want it to be no guitar and minimal as vocals as possible. So, and he made it happen. It was great. And so there was a couple of little bit of arrangements ideas that I had on that song, and I really wanted the melody that I wrote on the guitar to show on the synth, and that's it shows really well, and that's for me one of my favorite tracks on the record, just because it's different. It's so different. No guitars.
I love it. There's just so much contrast in the styles that have been put into the remix album. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, when Rhys Fulber did Hatred Will Prevail, which is the Monolith remix, I had very little input on it. Just a couple little ideas that I had, and that was about it. You know, he pretty much created that on his own.
The synth in that song, I feel, is quite a decent throwback to Demanufacture.
I'm not sure. I didn't think about it that way. But when Rhys was doing Path to Salvation, I also told him, think of a club mix, like you're at a club, like a goth industrial type of club, or even industrial club. And he goes, I came and gave him some examples, and I don't know if you know, but he worked on the Cyberpunk soundtrack for that video game.
Yep.
And so he kind of like channeled some of those ideas into this track, and it came out great. I love it.
Rhys is very much part of the Fear Factory family, isn't he?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, he's part of the reason why we have our sound, you know, why we have, when it comes to cinematic stuff that he wrote and some of the, you know, all these little industrial elements that he put into the music. I mean, it was a vision that I had. I just didn't know how to create it because I didn't have that type of technology. But with a guy like Rhys Fulber, who's been doing it for years before that, bringing all those elements into our sound really made a big difference.
Huge, yeah. Revolutionary back then.
Yeah. So I believe it, you know, in some ways, it's the collaboration between us and Rhys Fulber that pretty much created our sound, you know?
Yeah, sort of took it from that almost grindcore Soul of a New Machine type sound.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely different. You know, records. It's such a huge jump between Soul of a New Machine and Demanufacture. It's huge, night and day. You know what I mean? The only way that you could probably tell it's the same band is just some of the guitars and drums are syncopated like linchpin, you know, and vocals. But yeah, even Bert at that time, even when we went into the Demanufacture, Bert dropped the growl vocal. It wasn't doing the roll, you know, it's like
it was more like a bark than it was like a death growl sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And we consciously wanted to do that because we were like, okay, how do we get the point across still aggressively but not being like death metal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so he found it and we got it. You know?
Awesome.
All of us got better. Me, Raymond, and Burton, we got better as songwriters by that time. That record came out, and it was a combination of a lot of things. Doing Soul of a New Machine, going on tour, touring with a bunch of different bands, putting Fears the Mindkiller out. So when we went into Demanufacture, I feel that we've gotten better and we've grown as songwriters and as musicians, and that's why, you know, we were able to make great records after Soul of a New Machine, you know.
Yeah, interesting you bring up Fear is a Mindkiller.
Not that Soul of a New Machine is not a great record.
It's phenomenal. It was
it's just
groundbreaking.
We put 17 songs on a record. That's a lot of songs. 17. That's like 2 albums worth. You know what I mean?
Huge. Yeah.
So
almost 2 CDs.
Yeah, we figured out that putting 10 or 11 songs, great songs on the record, would be just perfectly enough to get the point across. You know, and I've always looked at it as a record like a song. Like the record has the start, the intro, and then it has the build up, and then boom, it goes into the verse, then this beautiful chorus, and then this midsection, which would be like the middle of the record, and things kind of calm down a little bit, goes into a different area, and then boom, everything starts building back up, and then you explode, and then at the end, you do this beautiful crescendo type of outro, which could be a song, whether it's a therapy for pain, resurrection, final exit, expiration date. Those are those classic ending tracks, and so that was something that I wanted. I look at an album as a song.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's the way the songwriting matured and evolved from Soul of a New Machine to Demanufacture to Obsolete. It's a really nice sort of maturation of the sound.
Yeah, well, Demanufacture was definitely, in a way it was very linear. Every song was fucking just ripping, every song. But when we went to Obsolete, okay, we were much more mature. We've got a lot of touring under our belt. The band has already been together for quite a few years, So when me and Raymond went to go write the music, we were like, okay, we need to make it a little bit more diverse, a little bit more groovy. This is like 1997, 1998. The times have changed. People, the new metal scene was really big at that point. Korn was really big. Groove was really big. Pantera was out. So all the groove elements. Records had a lot more bass and were more fuller. We were like, okay, so we need to make some adjustments. And we went into that record, make that record. We wanted to be as thick and round as possible. And, we added 808s to add some elements to the music as well.
Pretty amazing.
And of course, Rhys produced, and Greg really mixed that record from start to finish. And that's fucking such an amazing record. But I think a lot of people gravitate towards Demanufacture because I believe it has a lot of energy. The energy is really, it's just ripping. Whereas Obsolete still had a lot of energy, but it was like, it had some, mellower, groovier tracks, like Descent, Descent's one, and then it had, Smash or Devour groove, Securitron's ripping, and then you had then you have a classic Resurrection at the end of the record,
Yeah, which is certainly one of my favorite tracks of all time. I mean, I reckon that'll probably be my funeral song.
It's a good song, man.
It's huge. It's massive.
The hat looks good on you, by the way.
Oh, I love this snapback. Killer. I love this print under here.
Yeah, you can see it.
Covers up the bold bonds nicely, so.
There you go.
Got to be sun smart. Anyway, so with the synth, do you feel like you're going to be exploring that more with the future of Fear Factory, or are you still going to go down the heavy path?
Well, we've been using synth for a long time. I mean, we're gonna on this new record, we're gonna try to add as much different shit as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
As far as other elements coming into the music, for sure.
Because you mentioned Fear is the Mindkiller before, and with your live performances of Scapegoat, you actually do introduce a bit of the remix sound into that live performance of Scapegoat.
Yeah.
How much of RECODED do you think you can bring into the live performance of Aggression Continuum songs?
I haven't thought about that yet. You know what I mean? But you got to realize when we added that element into Scapegoat, that it didn't happen until years after.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas, we haven't even toured, Aggression Continuum yet at all. So, we're going to try to keep the tracks as they are from the record right now. But if anything, I would probably bring some elements from Disobey, which is Disruptor remix, into the live version. Maybe that one. And maybe I Am the Night Rider, bring some of those, especially the dialogue.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So with RECODED, you got Damien Rainaud back in to mix and master the album after his involvement in Genexus and the Industrialist.
And Aggression Continuum.
Yes. After watching interviews with him on New Breed TV, not only does he come across as just being super good at what he does, but just comes across as a real genuine dude. Like, is he now part of the Fear Factory family as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're working on the new stuff right now.
Epic.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely fast. He understands fast at creating things, right? He's really fast at it, and he has a lot of great ideas. And we've been working together since like the Industrialist, right? Yeah, definitely a part of the family for sure.
Yeah, he comes across as a really nice dude. Yeah.
But
just someone that you want to be creative with, like sort of helps foster the creative process.
Yeah. There was when I was out of the band, I believe Rhys might have did a couple of tracks on Archetype, and I don't think he did anything on a Transgression. But when I came back into the band for Mechanize, I wanted to bring Rhys back into the fold again, back into the Fear Factory family. And yeah, so there's definitely going to be the usual cast of characters for sure. Rhys will be working on some tracks. Me and Damien will be doing all the production duties, and then I'll definitely get Dualized on the track. But I think the new one will be Zardonic. It'll be the new one that I really want to bring into this new record.
Awesome.
New record.
Yes, yeah, I'm hearing you loud and clear, Dino.
It
sounds like order has been restored in the Fear Factory family, just saying.
Well, I think that when I came back, yeah, I definitely wanted Rhys back for sure.
Yeah, he's an integral part of it all. He's incredible.
Which I don't know why
a genius, a creative genius.
I don't know why he was left out on some of the previous stuff. I don't know why.
That's a guess.
I don't know. I wasn't in the band at that time, so I don't really know. Sorry, I got really bad allergies.
Oh man, it's that time of the year here in Australia at the moment. I'm having to put steroids up my nose every night, so plays havoc with my throat, man. Like,
yeah,
shocking.
me too. Well, not necessarily my throat, but more my nose and my eyes.
Yeah, nasty.
My eyes are all red right now. I didn't take any medication for my eyes. They're all red.
Yeah, the eye drops make a massive difference, eh?
It looks like I'm high right now. I don't even smoke weed.
Yeah, it's not my thing. So what time is it over there? Is it like 6 o'clock or something?
It's 6:15. Yeah, I gotta get going soon. But
yes, sorry, Dino. We've been
it's okay.
Been chatting for quite a long time.
I'm just texting my buddy right now to see what time I gotta meet him.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, just as a parting question, I guess. Can you tell us about your affinity for this great country of Australia?
I love it. Australia was very welcoming to Fear Factory. I mean, the first time we were there was 1994 for Fear's the Mindkiller tour, and people just really took really quickly to the band. It was like it was the first country that Fear Factory went gold in for Demanufacture. So we had gold record there, or was it silver? I'm not sure what it is. Gold, I think, right?
Yeah, Demanufacture went gold in Australia.
Yeah, but I just other countries have different names for it. Like in England, it's silver. So
right.
Sometimes they get confused, gold, silver. Anyways, so yeah, it was just something. When I got there, it just felt like it was a nice California.
Yeah.
Parts of Australia. Like in Perth.
I've never been to California. I would love to get over to the western side of the US.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between certain parts of Australia and California. Mainly the weather, It gets fucking hot here. Certain parts of Australia gets cold and rainy, like Melbourne.
Yeah.
What
We've been
part
having
of
some
you?
horrific weather lately. It's actually been flooding in Victoria, and it's just really scary at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm on the other side of the country. I'm here in Perth, and even our weather's a bit weird at the moment. Like typically this time of the year in November,
you're in Perth?
It's starting to warm up, but it hasn't been warm in November so far. It's really weird, man.
That's weird, yeah, because usually it's already hot.
Yeah, it hasn't really reached anything above 24 Celsius. What's that in yours? Probably about 75, I'd imagine. Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Well, right now we're going through our cold weather. It's starting early for us. Normally, I remember all the way up to Christmas, it's still being very warm. You know what I mean? Here, for you guys, it's normal, but for us, you know, we usually don't get winter till like January, February. You know.
Yeah.
But now it's been cold. It's been really cold, actually.
But your affinity with Australia, I mean, you're signed to an Australian guitar endorsement in Perry Ormsby.
Yep.
Far out. That's just incredible. That's amazing. I love that.
That happened about 3.5 years ago or so. You know, every NAMM convention, which is the music convention here in Los Angeles, I would go around and see other guitar companies like Ibanez, Jackson, ESP, you name it. And I always went to this small little booth, and it was Ormsby guitars, and they had some just different, interesting guitars that I liked. I liked the way they felt. I liked the way the neck shape was, headstock with the hook, you know, and just a lot of cool ideas on that guitar. And so when my things were falling apart with Ibanez, due to a lawsuit that the ex-band members were suing us for, their lawyer went after Ibanez as well.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, even though Ibanez was exonerated, they didn't want to be. They didn't want me to, or they didn't want to have to pay somebody else if they needed to, right? So I don't know if anybody really understands what I'm saying. Basically, the other two members went after Ibanez for money.
At the end of the day,
yeah, for me, because of me, right? Exonerated means they were dropped from the lawsuit. So even though Ibanez was dropped from the lawsuit, they didn't want to have to hope in the future pay anybody else. So they decided to discontinue my signature guitar.
Right.
I remember I was with Ibanez for 22 years. I love the company, but it was that time. It was because of the bad blood between the lawsuits. It was that time that I needed to make a move, and I did. And I went over to Ormsby. Great choice. They make amazing guitars. They make the guitar exactly how I want it. I was treated really well at Ibanez. I'm not going to say I was treated bad. Not at all. I was treated very well there. And I pretty much got whatever I wanted as well, too. One of the benefits is I actually live like a couple of miles from the actual shop. So it wasn't hard for me just to go over there and say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? It wasn't that hard to go and ask for things that I needed. Whereas Perry is all the way across the world. You guys are in the most secluded town in America, you know? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty isolated.
In the world is what I meant. Definitely going to be able to, take some opportunity to go there and try to get as much stuff as I've done as possible. Yeah.
Do you reckon you'll stop over at the Fear Factorium and see Max and Lauren?
I won't be able to stop into Adelaide. I won't have time.
That's a shame. So do you reckon the Fear Factorium is probably the most extensive collection of Fear Factory paraphernalia, or have you got something that will rival it?
No, I don't have anything that'll rival that. Not at all. I didn't say. I do have some other stuff that he doesn't have for sure, but I am not getting rid of all that stuff. No. Just added recoded it too.
Beautiful. Good man. Just trying to think of other Australian connections that you've had over the years. I mean, obviously, John Sankey from Devolved, who was heavily involved with Divine Heresy and programmed the drums on the Industrialist.
Yep, that is true. John Sankey was in a band called Devolved, and they played a show with us. I don't remember what city. It might have been Brisbane. Brisbane, I think it was. And I kind of felt, that was the last tour I did with Fear Factory, by the way. And I felt that my time with Fear Factory was going to be coming to an end. I had that feeling. So I was like, I better start scouting some other people, some other bands that I like, or some other musicians. And I saw John Sankey play with Devolved when they opened up for us. I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, mate. So when I was out of Fear Factory, I was like, I need to fucking do another band. And I was like, hey, I reached out to John Sankey, got a hold of him. and I said, you got to come out to LA. And so he did. He came out to LA. He wrote a few songs. Then he had to go back because his visa ran. So he had to go back. And so I was like, fuck. And I didn't know when he was going to be able to come back. So then I had to get a different drummer. And that's just how it was, unfortunately. So he did have his hand on a few songs on that first Divine Heresy record. And then finally, after a couple of years or so, he was able to make his way back to LA, and he had a longer visa. So we were able to work on the Industrialist album. But of course, you know, he ended up doing another record, another one of his band's records, and then he went back to Australia.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I used to be in an original band, and we supported Devolve once, and yeah, just he would give you the time of day. He would actually stand there and have a decent conversation with you. As opposed to just being like a rock star and disappearing in the opposite direction. Yeah, just a really nice, down-to-earth guy.
Yeah. You know, I've known him for quite a few years now. We still communicate. Hopefully I'll see him when I get down there. So
yeah, awesome.
I believe he's somewhere outside of Sydney at the moment.
Right, okay. Yeah, because I think he's from Queensland originally, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from the Brisbane area.
Yeah. All right, Dino, I don't want to hold you up, man.
The bush out. He's from the bush out in fucking Brisbane.
Mate, Australia is just the big bush. Anyway. Dino, I don't want to hold you up
map
anymore.
of Tassie.
You've got a friend to hang out with.
I do. I got to take off.
But all good. Thank you so much for our chat today. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to chat with you, Dino. On behalf of Express Magazine. And yeah, thanks to John at Nuclear Blast and Anthony and the team at Express.
Adapt.